Jeff Passan has a report on the Red Sox, in-depth, behind-the-scenes report on how the hell this all went down. And it doesn't reflect well on the Red Sox. Shocker.
Again? Jesus.
There's also this. I mean, he's got some inside stuff on how it went down on the plane going back to last week. Before the Boeing 757 lifted off, Red Sox manager Alex Cora approached Devers with a solemn look on his face. He had news, and there was no easy way to say it. Devers had just been traded to the San Francisco Giants. Devers was gobsmacked. He gathered his thoughts and belongings, said goodbye to teammates, strolled off the plane and into a cab, and rode off to the next phase of his life. How about that? Devers, according to a person familiar with his thinking, felt lied and betrayed to by the Red Sox. That's how Devers felt. He felt like he had been lied to. He felt like he had been betrayed. Goes back to the offseason. And it says Devers, although he knew about the public reports tying the Red Sox to Bregman and Nolan Arenado, was not alarmed because Red Sox officials said privately they planned on using Bregman at second base. As it is written here, he was not panicked. Red Sox officials said privately they planned on using Bregman at second base. But the move, when they did sign Bregman, registered as curious nevertheless. Talks about how the Red Sox privately had said that, yet the computer model said their best version of the 2025 Red Sox would feature reigning minor league player of the year, Christian Campbell at second base, Bregman at third, and Devers at DH. They did not ask Devers about playing DH until he arrived at spring training. Devers was livid. A player's position is part of his identity. He was a third baseman. And beyond that, though, he thought it was a breach in trust implicit in a contract of Devers' magnitude. So he's saying, I'm your guy, and you have not told me the truth from this. You told me that you were going to put Bregman or someone else at second, but you never indicated to me I was not going to be playing third. The front office's tack reinforced the feeling in the clubhouse that the organization's reliance on analytics for decision-making had come at the expense of productive interpersonal communications. Beyond that, Devers suggested to the team, okay, if I'm going to DH, can I ease into it? Can I still play at third a couple of times a week? And they said no. He said, okay, can I play there part-time? No, you can't. After saying he wouldn't play DH, he obviously relented and said that he would. Cora told him to not even bother bringing a glove to the spring training fields. And he became comfortable with at least he could focus only on hitting. So he came around on the idea, got comfortable with it, and said, okay, I'm going to lock in on hitting, which I think did show up this year in the way that he had walked 56 times in 73 games, which was 11 shy of his career high, and he only played 73 games.
Oh, after that first, what was it, week of the regular
week.
season? Yeah, mashed.
Yeah. So his refusal to play first coming after the deal was something that really did not sit well with the team. Talks about how Henry, Kennedy, Breslow went to Kansas City. They spoke with Devers, and Devers again met a second time with John Henry. They went to breakfast together the following morning. Devers indicated he would prepare to play first base in 2026 if the team wanted to move him there full time. So he said, I'll move to first, but I want time to prepare to become a first baseman because it's a position he hasn't played. Saying, look, so I imagine that meeting. He's saying, I've got a lot of years left on my contract. If you want to turn me into a first baseman, fine. I'll put in the work to become a first baseman, but you are not just going to throw me there now. I've never played the position.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it makes sense.
And I want to prepare to do the job well, you've got to find someone else who knows how to play first because I don't.
Yeah, and it makes sense from his perspective to give that type of response because you're already a big-time veteran. You're making money. Like, I don't want to embarrass myself. I want to learn how to do it the right way. But, okay, if you're going to fast forward to next year, by that time next year, where's Costas at in his recovery? Are they looking to bring in another first baseman, a real first baseman? And then when Bregman's back, he's at third. So they're like, probably no.
But what is it for them? They know they didn't want him at DH. They wanted this DH flexibility. So where do you want to play Devers? It feels to me like they just didn't want the player.
They just want to move on.
They just want to move on and move on from the contract.
Which makes it a non-baseball move, and it's a salary dump.
That could have been a great long-term plan. Yeah, you know what? Let him start figuring it out at first, and we'll make him the first baseman next year. We'll bridge the gap for the time being. He was giving them a long-term plan for him to stay here, and they turned their nose up at it. This is an important detail. And the only thing he asked was, I can't do this on 5 minutes time. You gotta give me some time to learn this position.
For a guy in Tristan Casas you spent the entire offseason trying to get rid of, that you knew you were trying to get rid of, that after that brutal injury, Craig Breslow hasn't even committed to him as being a long-term solution, saying in the presser the other day, we need to figure out what that is.
Yeah. Put him on the permanent IL.
It's going to be Campbell.
Well, the decision-making, though, didn't make sense from the computer model told you that Campbell and Devers, those positions, was what should take place. Campbell clearly not ready for the major leagues, and Rafael Devers pissed off at DH.
Oh, so the computer model also thought Tristan Casas was going to be great, apparently. And he wasn't before going down with the injury. He actually sucks. Like I told you he did the first 5 minutes he was in the majors. Beetle right again. Told you he sucked. Told you he was overrated. Most overrated prospect in a while. Garen Cecchini-esque.
Oh, I loved him. Yeah.
Stop it. That is ridiculous.
Cecchini.
Cecchini didn't accomplish anything at the big league level.
Pretty swing, though, Milliken. You can't deny that.
Oh, I agree.
Casas is Cecchini.
50 stolen bases at high A or whatever it was. I was expecting those in the big league.
That's just me being a dick. It's a finish.
Casey Kelly, baby.
Casey Kelly. Can't trade Casey Kelly. Yeah, you can.
Could have played.
You could have traded him 100 times. Yeah. A lot in here about Devers, which I don't think you're going to change too many minds on. I think we've kind of talked it out. We're going to keep talking about that trade for years to come. No doubt about that. But I'm now getting more interested in Breslow and his future here. That's what I'm becoming more interested in, and how it relates to Breslow v. Cora. That's what I'm kind of interested in. Who outlasts one another? Because I don't think that they can coexist together moving forward. I don't think Cora's view of how baseball should be played and Breslow's computer's view of how baseball should be played align with one another. Because to Cora's credit, at least he's a normal person and can converse with people on a human level that Craig Breslow appears to be wholly incapable of. Passan writes, early in Breslow's tenure as chief baseball officer, he hired a consulting firm called Sportsology Group to assess Boston's baseball operations department.
That pisses me off to begin with, just the wording of it.
He said the wide-ranging evaluation was something out of Office Space.
That's, oh boy.
And into it, they fired 50 people last year from the organization. They believe that the Red Sox, with so much change and instability, had just grown bloated, that they kept hiring more people during all of these changes and not really tracking what all of them do. And if there were, as they like to say, redundancies.
Mm-hmm.
They blew out 50 people. 50. The professional scouting department gutted, emptied it out. Some of the positions wound up being filled, but it was clear to those who stayed and went.
Too human.
This was Breslow's team, and now he would remake it in his image. Since the cuts, Breslow's circle of trust has been small, and his reliance on the team's analytical model heavy, according to sources, leaving some longtime employees embittered. Breslow loyalists fear the consequences of that, with one saying, quote, there are definitely turncoats internally plotting against Brez. Do you know who Craig Breslow is? He's a tyrant. Cross Craig Breslow, not align with Craig Breslow, You're fired to the tune of 50 front office staffers, and now the team's best hitter. Fired. You're off to San Francisco.
See you, Devers.
Don't you think it's ironic, by the way, that they traded Rafael Devers because of culture purposes for the team? Meanwhile, the culture that Craig Breslow has built within the organization is an absolute dumpster fire?
Yeah, it's a rotten one.
And what he's doing is what you fired Dave Dombrowski for. Getting into a tight, close inner circle, Frank Wren, Tony La Russa. That's the exact reason you said Dave Dombrowski had to go, because that whole infrastructure you built from the Theo years, all these different voices, were no longer being involved in part of decision-making. You're right where you were back then. What's the difference now that you've been through multiple CBOs and, it'll be even harder to hire someone than it was post-Dombrowski? That's what it is. So are you going to just stick it out with all this dysfunction and hope it gets better? Because it sounds like there's dysfunction at every level, whether it's in the front office, Breslow and Cora not being on the same page. Who is actually on the same page with the Boston Red Sox right now? Who is it?
I don't know. But that's the part that stinks in all of this. Breslow. And I think it's a problem because ownership has now empowered him.
Yes.
And the moves he has made have saved John Henry his money. I just blew out 50 staffers. Great.
Yep.
50 salaries off the books.
Front man, he can take the punches, and he's doing what Henry wants.
Something tells
Same
me.
way, what's his name? Sam Kennedy speaks.
And something tells me those people in the front office weren't making what the concessions workers are making, but they're trying to hose those guys too. But those are real salaries, real front office people, and they blew out 50 of them in the blink of an eye. Gone. Oh, you called me an effing stiff? You're fired too. Oh, you don't want to do it at what my computer model tells you to do, Raffy? You're fired too.
No, Raffy, don't
and
do your
you
job
don't
better.
think at some point that lands on the manager? Now, listen, I'm fine with a new manager on this team. I'm more than fine with it because I think Cora's act is stale and they need it. But I honestly don't know that the alternative will be any better if this is the guy doing the hiring.
Right.
Brez, you effing stiff. He does have to go. He's a problem. They got to blow him out like they've blown out everybody else. Bloom, Charrington, Dombrowski. Name your guy.
It took the 11th guy last time. What will it take this time?
13.
It's crazy.
Well, it depends how many AI interviews you have to do. How many rounds? Yeah. You got computers.
Credit to Passan. He absolutely crapped on everything that was essentially in that June Lee piece. In this whole story. The Christian Campbell angle of Devers being mad at him, not true. The AI portion of that story, unfounded, not properly reported or whatever it may be.
That's what Passan said?
Yep, it's later in that story towards the end.
So he's doubting June Lee in his reporting on the matter.
Former coworkers at ESPN.
Wow.
That's a shot
reporter
right
on
there.
reporter crime there.
The communication issues, though, when it comes to Craig Breslow, are being reported by everyone, right? There's no one that's come out.
There's
and
no
said,
doubt about
he's
that.
a phenomenal communicator.
Yeah. No, the reporting is in alignment, I would say, on the fact that Craig Breslow sucks and is a bot. That seems to be in alignment across all the reporting. Mm-hmm. Turncoats. Hey, we got turncoats in there. I love that.
Great culture. Good culture.
I love that.
Rats, not like a rat,
I'm going to
right?
tell you what happens. I'm going to tell you what happens now. Place starts leaking like a sieve. That's what happens next. Get ready for it. Turncoats, start doing your talking.
Well, especially if this goes
Send us
south,
an email. Send us a note.
they start losing because
Yeah.
the offense isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here come the turncoats.
Plus Campbell. Say when he comes back, he's not as good as he was in those first 2 weeks. They're going to get blamed for that, for ruining him. I don't think they've ruined him yet, but see if he turns it around. Yeah, so we're open for emails and DMs and all that if anybody wants to reach out.
Yeah, anybody wants to reach out and let us know
Sure.
what's going on over there. Be happy to hear about it.
Yep.
DMs are open. Yep, without a doubt.